So we got a new Eminem track, Untouchable. This is
Throw It in Rice. This is one of the worst songs I've ever heard. This is the first time in my life that I feel like the ball is being dropped on Eminem. Can I correlate that to Paul taking a Def Jam job? Probably. But somebody over there should be saying something. Interscope, or whoever the f*** is behind that, will not use the plight of black people to sell a fucking record and widen your fucking profit margin. Am I love and respect? The things I learned from him is part of the reason that I retired early. Because if you're at the top of rap, I don't want that.
I looked at it as in, is this a record that we want from M? The record's kind of whack. It felt like it was like some WWE wrestler intro type of shit. It's not a good song. M is surrounded by entirely too many musical geniuses to put this quality music out.
Check it out now. Nobody can tell me that me and Joe Budden wasn't Goku and Vegeta. Okay, me and Joe, when we were on Everyday Struggle, man, let me tell you, we pissed off everybody. Nobody liked us. Okay, niggas try to fight us. Niggas couldn't wait to see us. Niggas was banning us from cities, award shows. Listen, Complex was fucking shook. Complex to cover their own ass. They put a fucking disclaimer and they kept making it bigger to let people know we are paying these motherfuckers, but we don't agree with nothing they say. Do not penalize us, because people were threatening to cancel interviews and this and third for sometimes the opinions that was disseminated by me and Joe. So we stood the fire for our own opinions, but you know what? We were passionate people about a culture, and when you are passionate about a culture, when discussing topics that you are also passionate about, you might have a passionate tone. A lot of that didn't come across well over screen, and it took us a while to figure out how to really give good advice or constructive criticism without looking like you were barking at someone, hating, or just trying to throw them under the bus. But of course, there was like harsh moments, man. There was definitely moments where it was tough, especially for Joe, right, who was a former rapper. And of course, he has so many ties in the industry. Are you going to be a journalist? Are you going to be somebody who's an analyst at that point? Or are you going to just protect your relationships and slander all the niggas you don't know? Okay? For me, I don't have all the friendships and relationships like that. But then now, I got to be able to back up what I'm saying in terms of I just can't just be saying shit out my ass if that's not really how I feel. Because we've seen artists came up there to be like, you said this. So it was always a thing where you want to say what you meant because you might have to back up what you said. Now, we were talking about Eminem, and it was a very difficult topic for Joe. I particularly didn't like the rollout for Revival, okay? He dropped the song Walk on Water. I just thought it was like pure pop, formulistic bullshit. Didn't like it at all, okay? But I was bracing for Joe to get his mans back, because if you don't know, Joe was on Shady Records. He's gotten checks signed by Shady, and of course, that's an opportunity that was given by Shady. I'm not expecting that he gonna keep it 100. Now, when it got to that topic, I kind of pushed him a little like, yo, you gonna keep it 100? Because when it comes to people who you claim I have relationships with, for example, the exes, okay? For example, the Kodak Blacks or the Yachties, when it came to them, you wanted me to be objective. You gonna be objective, nigga? And he made a very important turn in his career as an analyst or a podcaster, or let's just say a cultural critic, because he chose to be objective against someone you would not think he would. Now, from that, the people around him didn't like it. They dissed Joe, okay? Other people, they dismiss me because they're like, you like this type of music, but you don't like M. How could you? That's blasphemous. But we all know that it was coming from a place of, listen, the culture was listening to everything we were saying. Now, fast forward. I heard that there was a diss song, the second diss song, because Joe got dissed by M on a song, and I heard that there was another song coming, and the song is finally here, but with an album called Kamikaze. Now, let me read y'all the lyrics, and I'm sorry for the long backstory. Let me read y'all the lyrics where I thought it was only Joe getting dissed. I got name dropped in this, and I'm like, the fuck did I do? Okay, now, let's get to these goddamn bars. It's on a song called Fall, and he says this: somebody tell Budden for I snap, he better fasten it, or have his body bag get zipped. The closest thing he's had to hits is smacking bitches, and don't let me have to give it to academics. Say this shit trash again, and I'll have you twisted like when you thought you had me slipping at the telly. Even when I'm getting brain, you'll never catch me with a thought lacking with it. He ain't spinning like this on his last shit, ho. You better go back and listen, you know me better. Thinking I'll slow up or let up. Call it trap because it's a total setup. hoping that you rappers fall in that. Okay, now, let me cut right there. Because if you guys don't know what he's talking about, you're clowning the fact that Joe's a one-hit wonder. Which, by the way, this is like an easy response. Joe just doesn't have to respond. Number one, my nigga Joe touts the fact that he's a one-hit wonder. All right? Like, in the definition of a one-hit wonder, the nigga's a one-hit wonder. He said it himself. So you can't really 8-mile him when he's 8-miling himself. All right? And when it comes to me, when he says, if you call this shit trash anymore, because I wasn't that fond of that album, that shit was weak. That shit was light sauce. That shit was mayonnaise. That shit wasn't hot sauce. It was light. Okay? And you clearly have understood the fact, and you know what I like about this Kamikaze project, and I haven't really formulated a full opinion on it, but what I do know so far is that he's addressing everything people have said over social media, on YouTube, on Instagram. The fact that he mentions, when you thought you caught me slipping with the thought at the telly, that's some shit I posted on Instagram with a wild caption saying Eminem got caught lacking in a motel with a thotty. So he's responding directly to that, right? Also, he continues throughout the album respond to a bunch of people, so I like that. But when I said that shit was kind of weak for M standards, that shit was kind of weak. The whole rollout felt very mailed in. Y'all were relying on 2003 tricks to sell an album in 2018. You went at Trump thinking Trump was going to indulge you in a back and forth, and he didn't. And to be honest, if I really want to keep it 100, you went from trying to engage with Trump in a back and forth. He ignored your ass. Now you called out everybody in the game, including me. You are the rapper who's always kind of gotten at or dissed the pop acts to kind of get your shit a little bit more lit, but these days you're not the most relevant motherfucker. Even though you're always relevant as a legend, you're not the most relevant to today's trending and current topics that niggas want to go back and forth with you. That's one of the reasons you made this fucking album. But it's not gonna deter me or distract me from the fact that the last shit you put out, that shit was light mayonnaise, okay? And I got to keep it 100 with you. You kind of came better so far from what I'm hearing on this project. And to address the joint about you getting caught slipping at the telly, yeah, it looked old and forced when you were trying to pull a publicity stunt, but nobody believed you, or at least they all were clowning you. It just didn't work. You tried to do what all these other rappers do so seamlessly, except it was overproduced with the goddamn camera that's still probably recorded with VHS tapes. It didn't look good, bro. Okay? So again, with all the yes men around you, some of the criticism that you got from social media, Everyday Struggle, and other places probably hit you in a very unfamiliar place because you're not used to those stark criticisms of your work. Nobody ain't telling you that you ain't one of the greatest. People were just telling you that that shit was weak. And your promo strategy was very disingenuous. You were trying to use the race and the plight of black people to sell an album. And while nobody's accused you of being disingenuous, and really that's kind of piggyback on what Joe's point was, it felt like it was some bullshit that you were doing. So, again, while I love the fact that he's responding, I'm just reaffirming the points that we're making in the first place, okay? Not because a motherfucker responded means what we said in the first place wasn't valid. But I'm glad that he did respond because for a while we all thought this motherfucker, because he's so isolated, didn't hear criticisms from the regular people, were only listening to yes men around him, and was so detached that we're wondering, nigga, could you really make music for 2018 if you're not in tune with the culture still? You answered some of those questions. I like the fact that he named this, but I don't know, Lil AK might have to fire you up with some bars, okay? Is Joe gonna rap? Yo, listen, don't tell me my alter ego got to rap or Joe not gonna rap. Joe, you gonna rap, nigga? I don't know. He just got a Spotify deal. He probably won't. Well, actually, the Spotify deal, he should rap. I don't know. Get in the comments, but you guys like and subscribe. Do you think Joe should respond to Eminem? And do you think my alter ego, Lil AK, should come out and get in his lyrical bag and really deliver some lyrical potency and miracle, spiritual, literal, vitriol, whatever, okay? Maybe. Quentin, hit me up, bro. It's your boy Akademiks in the comments. What you guys like? Oh,